Hi, Tracy. I'm glad you could come today and that we can do this together. I wanted to find out how you're doing with the program and how you feel about everything.
Hi,
So,
Barbara.
hi. So, can you tell me how you got to homeopathy originally? What spurred your interest?
Yes, I had never heard of it until I met a veterinarian for my dog who used homeopathy, and I saw such good results. I was interested in how did it work for people.
Oh, yeah, I can see. Now, you've been in the program for a few years and you're almost finished with the entire course of study. And so you also had some obstacles, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But so now that you're in this advanced program, how do you think that's different from the foundations, which was the first part?
Yes, so with the focus primarily on having our own cases, it feels I feel more like a professional from having graduated from the foundations and now having these supervised cases of, people that I find. And even though we had some of that in foundations, it has a different feel now. Like I'm actually starting a business and having this past experience. I feel like, I have something to really bring to it now, a little bit, and it's just great flexibility because we're scheduling our people as it works best for everybody.
Yes, and so you have these cases that you take, right? And you
Right.
can actually can charge for them at this point. Yeah, so you're building your business.
Yes, and that was the other part I was going to mention is actually being able to charge somebody really has that business feel. And because in foundations, there was a webinar we watched about the business models. And so I've been reviewing that, and that is being so helpful. And so, yeah, when I first got my first payment, it was like, wow, this
Yes.
is really becoming that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this advanced studies is not only to prepare students or to do the CHC test, it's also there to support you when you start your practice. Because you have these 10 cases that you are required to get supervised through us and 20 follow-ups. So is a little bit of a backup, right?
Yes, yes, it definitely is. Because so far, with the cases I've done, my follow-ups are coming in, but I may have, as it happens, some people don't follow up,
Yeah.
and then you just have to, find additional clients, and which is very much like the real world.
Yes, yes. And at the same time, you get to see quite a few video cases by different homeopaths from around the world.
Yes, and that is truly such a benefit. It really opens my eyes of things to look for, how can I adjust myself? And it's a great learning tool.
And was it okay to get these different perspectives of how different homeopaths work? Because so far you've really had a clear system to follow as far as classical homeopathy goes. And now
Yeah.
you're seeing these other people.
Yes, and so what I find, it's almost like a recipe. If somebody gives you a recipe and you can tweak something here or there, in the beginning, seeing the different ways of case taking and different
Yes.
perspectives, even though it's all classical homeopathy, it seemed a little overwhelming at first, but now I'm starting to get a real more feel and foundation for myself because I pick and choose kind of based on the client's needs, being
Yes.
so individual and unique, what to bring, or yeah, it's a great benefit.
So what do you feel you like best in the program?
Well, in the foundations program, it's so hard to choose, but really the instructors of HSI, I mean, everybody is so accomplished in their fields, and it was such a rich amount of knowledge and experience that I felt I received as a student. And now in the advanced clinical studies program, when I'm working one-on-one with my homeopath instructor supervisor of my cases, and the feedback that I get is so valuable because it's making me stronger. And it can even be a back and forth a few times to really nail down the case and to come to the best conclusions, the best remedy choice. And that's invaluable. It's really a privilege to work with the instructors like that.
Thank you. So being a professional, and you've worked throughout this whole program, right, in your profession. So how did that work, like time-wise?
Right. So I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also a registered respiratory therapist, and I do them separately, of course. But the flexibility of the program, and we do have a certain amount of time to complete it in. But the self-scheduling of it all, like it all came out in the wash for me. Some modules I finished sooner, some took a little longer, but it all worked out, and it really was great for my busy schedule. I got it done, and in the advanced clinical studies, it's got that same feel. I can schedule cases. I have a lot of flexibility to do that, and so it's rolling along really well so far. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had quite an obstacle in the road just recently, right?
Right. Yep. So working on a COVID team for work. I ultimately contracted coronavirus myself, and I always thought if I ever contracted it, I would do really well. But I got really sick. I didn't have to be hospitalized, thank goodness, but I was still very sick and had some residual symptoms for quite some time. But the first week or two I had it, I was not able to really do anything for school. But it really didn't put me very far behind, because as I improved with my recovery, and thanks to homeopathy and remedies and my homeopath, but I was able to, do the Zoom sessions or Skype sessions with my clients, which was very normal because that's what we're all doing now anyway, because of social distancing.
Yeah. So how much do you have left now until you finally graduate? And then,
Yeah, so I still have a ways to go. I've only done 3 cases out of my 10 cases, and I do have more cases coming, and then of course the follow-ups, and I have a few pending follow-ups that'll be happening in the next week or two. And I probably have 3/4 of the program to go, because I just started it this spring. And I also appreciate very much all the materials you have given us to study for the exam.
Yeah, so you can finish all your required work for the CHC, and then you can take the study guide and work your way through it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Well, I think after you've gone through this COVID sickness, you're probably gonna, your work is probably gonna speed up quite a bit. And also it takes a little time in the beginning to work with the online cases, right?
Right. And it does, yeah.
Yeah. Now you have it down.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always a learning curve with, okay, here's a new program. How do I map this out, which you guys help so much with, but it's still getting the hang of it. And I have. Yep. So it's onward and forward, and it can move along as quickly as you want. It's true.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sitting there.
Yeah, I'm really glad that, you made it through that, because I was worried with COVID and some people having long-term effects from it. And it took you a few weeks, but you plowed through.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I'm doing really well. I feel really great and really feeling like myself again. And so, so even with any obstacles, because I think everybody who's doing a program like this and from home and online, and any obstacles that come up in life, it's paced. You can pace it in a way to get through whatever you have to go through. And even if you have to pause something for a little bit, to come back around to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very flexible, and you guys are very generous that way to have it mapped out in a way that it kind of accounts for not being, rigid and
Yeah.
I'm doing this every day, or
Yes, yes.
but to have a plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. I mean, we originally thought that this advanced clinical studies could be done in 1 year, but you do have to fulfill the CHC requirements with these 10 cases and 20 follow-ups. So it all depends on how long it takes you to do that. Everything else in the program, you can sort of arrange around that.
Right.
So, if you start taking cases right in the beginning, you're seeing clients and you do it all in the beginning, then you can do it in a shorter amount of time.
Yes.
But if it takes you a little bit longer to get your clients and do the follow-ups, then you have extra time to finish that. So
Yeah.
So that was the idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's kind of how it's going for me, getting my cases, not the online cases, but my cases up in the beginning to
Right.
allow all those follow-ups,
Right.
so yeah, that's a great way. You explained it beautifully. That's a great way to do it. So I'm glad I'm starting out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you are almost there.
Me too.
And that you feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah,
And that you
very.
can hopefully add that to your practice or however you will do it, right?
Yes, for sure, for sure.
And it's
Yes.
now, like you said, it's now really good to be able to do your work online,
Mm-hmm.
via any of these portals that you can talk with people,
Yes.
So homeopathy really kind of offers itself to do that, and we've done that for a while. So.
And it really does work like this
Yeah.
way. It really
Yeah.
does. That's the beautiful thing about it.
You can still see the person, observe them, see how sick they are, or how they
Yes.
look when they get better. Right. Well, I thank you for this, and maybe we should touch in again.
You're welcome. And I just wanted to say really quickly, I did have one case with her hands, and she was able to show me what was going on
Yes.
over Skype
Yes.
video, and I could completely see it. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Okay. See you next time.
Okay, I will see you again.